Why are there so many real estate agents joining eXp Realty? Whether you're a brand new licensed agent or you're a veteran in the business, you might have seen a lot of top producing agents, top teams, even entire brokerages making the switch over to eXp Realty. So what is eXp Realty offering that is attracting everyone? What is the hype? Is it real? What does their model look like? We've had a lot of different updates and changes here at eXp Realty. And if you really want to know, whether you're curious, a skeptic, a cynic, or you're actually thinking about joining, what do you need to know? In this video, I'm going to explain everything that you need to know about eXp. So without further ado, let's go. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lor Vang. I'm a real estate agent at eXp Realty since 2021. So this is the start of my 4th year at eXp Realty. So I'm pretty experienced at what the business has to offer here at eXp. I know the model really well, and I can help to explain a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about here. So in 2025, we've had some major updates. And so let me start off with our new fancy presentation slide that eXp Realty Corporate has created for us in Canva. So let's go. So one of the things that you might notice immediately is that eXp now offers Canva Enterprise to all of their real estate agents. So Canva, if you're not familiar, is kind of like an online Adobe Photoshop / illustration software where all agents can go in there and access all pre-made social media content, or they can make their own. So things from like just listed, social media graphics, to just sold, under contract, or open house, flyers, presentations for sellers, presentations for buyers, even presentations for real estate agents, just like this one. So let's get into what other opportunities that eXp offers their agents and if it might be a good fit for you. So what is eXp Realty is a question that I get a lot from clients as well as other agents who may have never heard of the name. But believe it or not, we are the largest independent real estate brokerage on the planet. And right now we have about 88,000 real estate agents, closing in on 100,000 agents real soon. And we started in 2009 under our founder, Glenn Sanford, who started that company during that last real estate recession because he thought there had to be a better way to operate a real estate business, getting away from the traditional brick and mortar that had a lot of overhead. So he was the visionary who decided, why not have a cloud-based brokerage where you don't have to have the overhead of a brick and mortar. So essentially, Glenn was creating the Uber of real estate, right? The taxi company that doesn't own any taxis. And so essentially that is what eXp Realty is. We are a real estate brokerage without any actual real estate offices. So as you can imagine, in the beginning, it was rough. A lot of real estate brokerages, especially the traditional ones, laughed at the idea of a cloud-based internet brokerage. They thought it would never work. And as you can see in this slide here, based on these 2023 transaction sides number, look at who's number one. eXp Realty by 355,000 transaction sides. And that's nearly 100,000 over the next closest competitor. So we're here to show you that, the idea works, the model works, and it is the future of real estate, as proven by even more real estate media companies out there giving eXp their flowers. Ranked number 1 in growth by T360, Real Trends, Riz Media, Power Broker as well. So what does a cloud-based real estate brokerage offer you as a real estate agent? Well, in one word, freedom. You can work from anywhere in the world with a laptop and an internet connection. By not having any traditional brick and mortar offices, corporate is saving so much money that they don't have to charge and pass on the cost of these offices to their agents. There is no desk fee. Why pay for a fee for a desk that most agents don't even end up going to, right? You can work from anywhere these days. And of course, there's so much advanced technology out there. eXp offers a suite of software to the real estate agents for lead generation, for marketing, and transaction management, right? And then of course, training and development. When we have live webinars here, we have virtual conferences, and there's a ton of on-demand courses that are pre-recorded classes, pre-recorded content that real estate agents can go back and watch at any time that they want. And so with eXp Realty here, we actually also have an eXp virtual campus that we call exp.world. And so it's kind of like what the people nowadays call the metaverse, essentially like a little virtual video game, if you might like. You have a character, walks around, can go to different buildings within this virtual campus. We've got HR building, we've got accounting building, we've got buildings for every single state, right? Every single state brokerage, every country, because we're in 27, 28 countries, we add more all the time. So you can actually go in there and take your little character, walk around. You can go visit conference rooms. You can go visit auditoriums. There's actual trainings. You can watch them, right? You can attend. And like I said, you can meet anybody in the world inside exp.world. So it's really really unique experience that you'll have to experience for yourself. So here's a slide that shows pretty much all of the technology, all of the training, and the services and tools available to help support your business at eXp. And there's a ton. So I would not have enough time to go through all of this. But in the tech stack, of course, I already mentioned that exp.world, and then there's Sisu, which is a activity tracking software that you can use to track every single activity you do in your business, from having conversations to follow up to even talking to your CRM to tracking your productivity. It's quite an amazing tool. And then of course, you have your Canva, we have Workplace, which is a professional Facebook, and there's a whole lot of other things here. So in the lead gen, we have CRM, KV Core that we use, that all agents have for free. And then there's also Revenos, which is eXp's internal lead gen engine that has a different number of programs in there that offer certain lead gens, from REOs, reloads, and affinity. There's a bunch in there. Also the training I mentioned already, eXp University. We have these new programs called Fast Start and Fast Cap for newer agents that are trying to learn about the business, and of course our mentor program that all brand new agents can go through as well. And then of course eXp just launched Elevate Coaching as well. So quite a lot of programs there. And even more stuff with the broker support teams, the expert care and transactions teams. And then on the other side is all of our other divisions that we have available at eXp. So we have a luxury division, so luxury real estate agent division. We also have a commercial brokerage. This is an entirely separate brokerage from eXp Realty side, which handles residential. The commercial side, eXp Commercial, does strictly commercial real estate. And then of course our global, again mentioned 28 countries that we're in. There's so many countries and we're always opening up. So of course we have healthcare and then stock and all these other things I'm gonna get into a little bit here. So hold on. Okay, so enough of the boring stuff. Let's get into the stuff that you care about. How much do you get paid as a real estate agent at eXp? So at eXp, it's gonna be a 80-20 split. So 80% to the real estate agent, 20% goes back to the company. And when you pay a total of this 20% hits $16,000 for the year, you will then reach capped status, which means that you will go 100% from that point on. So again, once you pay a total of $16,000 to the company of that 20%, once it totals $16K for that year, that calendar year, you will then go 100% commission. So you'll earn 100% commission. And of course, instead of now paying the 20% to the company, you will only pay $250 for each transaction. Okay, sounds pretty good so far. What are the costs to join eXp Realty? Well, there is a one-time startup fee of $149 for the first month that you join. And then every month after that will be $85 per month. So that is the brokerage fee to join eXp. And then every single transaction that you do at eXp gets charged $25 for having the broker to review every single file that you do here at eXp Realty to make sure that you're doing things correctly, you're following the law, and you're in compliance, right? And then there is your E&O insurance. So at eXp Realty, they charge that based on basically they split it up over your first 12 and a half transaction files. So each transaction is $60 for the E&O payment. So that, that fee, $60 goes towards that E&O insurance for that year. And it caps out at $750, which comes out to roughly 12 and a half transactions to cap out. So, if you're a real estate agent and you don't actually do more than 12 and a half transactions in a year, then you wouldn't actually pay the total $750 for E&O insurance. But if you are a pretty good producer and you're going to do 20, 30, then obviously you would just max out the E&O at $750 and you'd keep going on with your business. Okay, so now let's get into some of the more interesting things, the more different things that eXp offers that other companies may not. And so you may have not known it, but eXp Realty is a publicly traded company under the EXPI stock ticker, which is the eXp World Holdings company name. And what's really unique about this is that real estate agents can actually earn stock in the company, right? And so you may not grasp this right away. You may not care, it may not sound like much, but honestly, it is. Because if you think about it, the majority of real estate companies out there that you would go work for, whether it's a small boutique brokerage or a local franchise, right? Or even some of the major national ones, they do not offer their real estate agents stock or equity in the company that they work for, right? And so that was one of the biggest things that Glenn Sanford, the founder, wanted to make sure that he offered his real estate agents an opportunity to own a piece of the company that they worked so hard for every day, in and out, right? Which is really amazing when you think about it, because if you spend years at a company, you have so much time, that energy, blood, sweat, tears that you've created for a company, but you own nothing. That's kind of wild, right? If this company was to sell to somebody else, you as an agent where you don't own any equity in that company, you get zero. You get nothing, right? You may have contributed 10 years. You may have contributed, over $1 million in earnings for that company. But when that company sells, because you have zero equity, you get nothing. So that's not very cool, is it? But at eXp Realty, being a publicly traded company, you are a stock owner. You own a piece of the company, or you own equity, right? And so here's a couple different ways that you can earn that stock, right? And so for your very first transaction closing annually, every year, you earn $200 of eXp stock. Every year that you cap, right, you're going to get $400 in eXp stock. And if you participate in bringing on another agent to join you at eXp Realty, you will also earn $400 for every single agent that you introduce to join eXp Realty. And on top of that, there is an agent equity program as well, where agents can voluntarily enroll to receive 5% of their net commission in the form of eXp Realty stock. And you purchase this at 5% discount. So you're not paying full price that you would if you just bought it on the stock market. And there's also the Icon Award, which the Icon Award will give you $16,000 in stock back to you if you're able to hit the production requirement needed to hit the Icon Award, which, if you recall, when you cap, right? Once you pay $16,000 to the company, you as an agent, you cap, you go 100% commission from that point on. So if you're able to do another 20 transactions, then you will hit the achievement required to hit the Icon Award. And so essentially that 20 additional transactions at the $250 transaction fee comes out to $5,000. So essentially you are going to cap now on the transaction fee at $5,000. And so once you hit that cap, you will be awarded the Icon Award, which gives you the $16,000 back to you that you initially paid in commissions and splits to the company. You get that back to you in the form of eXp stock. And going forward, if you have even more transactions at the company, instead of paying $250 now, every single transaction is only $75 for the remainder of that calendar year. So that's all very cool. It's amazing. So now if you get that $16K back in stock, essentially you're going to earn 100% of your expenses at eXp Realty, right? So it's quite amazing if you really think about it. All right, so now we're going to get into the really cool stuff, revenue share. So this is an optional program that all agents at eXp can participate in. But essentially, like I mentioned earlier, when you introduce new agents to join you at eXp Realty, right, they name you as their sponsor when they join. Not only do you get that $400 stock that I mentioned previously, but you also earn a percentage of revenue when your sponsored agent closes a transaction, right? And so you will continue to earn this revenue share all the way up until when your sponsored agent reaches their annual cap, right? And this is very important. You only earn it up to the cap. Once they cap, you no longer earn, right? And the way it works here, we've got this, these little pie charts here. And, I got to get out of the way for that because it's important. So again, at eXp Realty, you pay that 80-20 split, right? And you have a cap of $16,000. So once you cap $16,000, you can see how the revenue share works here and in these two examples. So you or your agent, they keep their 80%. This revenue share money that we're talking about here, it never comes from the 80%. The agent that earns that 80%, they keep all of that. And then, of course, when they cap, they go 100%. But that 20%, that $16,000 that the company collects, right, from the agent, essentially what happens is the company is sharing 50% of that $16,000 back to the agents who are participating in the revenue share program. So as you can see in the 20% graph here, $8,000 of that 16, it's going to the company dollar, and then the other $8,000 is going back to the revenue share program. So it's going to go back into the pockets of all the agents who are participating in that revenue share. So we'll go a little bit more detail into the next slide here. All right, so let's talk about how the revenue share pool actually works. And so in the revenue share program, it actually goes 7 tiers deep. And so your level 1 tier is going to be your direct sponsored agent. So meaning that they have named you as their sponsor when they join eXp Realty. This tier 2 agent is going to be the agent that your tier 1 agent sponsors at eXp Realty. So, and then tier 3 is going to be the agent that the tier 2 agent sponsors, and so on, right? And so the percentage, if you recall from the last slide, the $8,000 is the max revenue share pool, right, amount. So the actual payout becomes $8,000 for your level 1, for example, $8,000 times 17.5%. So that becomes that total payout for a tier 1 agent. Now, tier 2 is going to be the same, $8,000 times the 20%, right? And then so on here. And you can see each tier kind of has different payout amounts. This is done on purpose. So like, for example, tier 2, well, why do you earn more for a tier 2 agent than you do a tier 1, right? So the purpose is that, if you help your tier 1 agent with their agent to be successful, right? You did not directly sponsor this tier 2 agent, right? However, if you help the tier 2 along with your tier 1, you both help your tier 2 agent, you will help that agent be more successful. And so you will also be rewarded more to do so, right? And you might see some other notes on the side here. So year 1, right? So year 1, 50%, 4K. So basically that means in the first year that a tier 1 agent joins you, you're actually going to earn a 50% bonus versus the 17.5%, right? So you're going to get this 50% payout of the 8K. So that's why it's 4K. So for the entire first year, you're actually going to earn potentially $4,000 from your tier 1 agent. And then these other notes here, cap and icon, right? So if you're an individual agent and you actually are able to cap, well, you can actually unlock all tiers 1 through 5. I believe this goes for a year. And then if you icon, you actually unlock tiers 1 through 7 for a year. And then also, if you notice, there's this plus thing here on the side. So there's an adjustment bonus. So in tiers 1 through 3, these 3 tiers only, you earn what's called an adjustment bonus. So essentially, if there's an agent at eXp at the revenue share that has left, right, that means they're not getting paid the revenue share that they were supposed to, because they've left eXp. They're no longer earning. So who gets that money, right? So if there's an agent missing somewhere in somebody's rev share organization, that money is actually now being divided to the other agents that are still with eXp. So you do earn more. There's like a little bonus pool payment for that. And we'll move on to the next slide here, where we'll talk about essentially how do you get paid from each tier and what requirements are there to get paid, right? So let's move into that here. All right, so in this slide, it's going to break down the revenue share tier groups in even more detail and how you unlock certain tiers. And so to do that, to unlock, you actually need to first understand this term called the FLQA, which is a frontline qualifying agent. So how do you qualify as a FLQA? Well, FLQA is just a fancy term for your tier 1 agents that are producing that can qualify to help you unlock the different tiers. And so what kind of production does that mean? Essentially, any agent who is earning $5,000 GCI from transaction closings, they would be considered an FLQA. And that would qualify them to be an FLQA for at least 6 months. Now, if they continue to, close more deals, then their FLQA qualification period keeps extending for you, right? So they keep being counted as an FLQA. So as you can see, there's an FLQA account needed here, and you can kind of see, okay, so these tiers here, the ones that don't have these, this mark pretty much means it's locked off or nothing to earn there, right? So the way the revenue share program currently operates, tiers 1 through 3 are automatically fully unlocked, okay? And now to unlock tier 4, you actually need at least five FLQAs. You can have as many as 9, but 5 would unlock tier 4 for you. Okay. So instead of earning, so let's say you had an agent on tier 4, but you didn't unlock it yet, right? You didn't have 5 FLQAs yet. Instead of earning the full 7.5%, you would have only earned 0.5%, which is better than nothing, better than, 0. So to unlock it, you need to have at least 5 FLQAs to unlock that. Okay. And then you see that tier 5, you need 10. So you need 10 at least to unlock that, right? Or you can cap. So as I mentioned earlier in the last slide, if you cap, it automatically unlocks tiers 5 through 1. So now you have 5 through 1 unlocked for a period of 1 year. So from the point where you cap. And then if you go to tier 6, you want to unlock tier 6. Now you need 15, right? At least 15 to get that full 10%. And then tier 7, of course, is 30. Or if you hit icon, then you unlock tier 7 for a whole calendar year. So you enjoy the benefits of unlocking all 7 tiers for a whole period of a year. So it's very powerful. So that's how the unlocking the different tiers works. And when you don't have it unlocked, you would only be limited to these smaller expansion share percentage here. So if you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to let me know. You may need to watch this part a couple times to understand it a little bit better here. Now on the home stretch to finish off, there are a couple different programs that we have available at eXp Realty that I wanted to highlight. So one of the first being the eXp Luxury Division. This is a division that is open to all real estate agents at eXp. However, you do have to either pay in to be a part of the program or qualify based on your sales production. There's certain level of real estate that you need to sell in order to qualify to be in this program. However, if selling luxury real estate is one of your goals, this is definitely a program that you want to be a part of. It allows you exclusive training to how to sell luxury real estate, as well as access to world-class brand advertising, marketing, and distribution channels for that type of real estate. Next up is eXp Commercial, which is the commercial real estate division of eXp Realty. And these are treated more as 2 entirely separate companies because when you're on the realty side, you do have to be a member of NAR. When you're on the commercial side, you do not have to be a member of NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors. So when you're on the commercial side, you don't have to follow the rules of NAR, right? And so essentially that is why these are 2 entirely separate companies. Even when you are on the realty side, you are allowed to do a couple real estate deals that are commercial. However, if 100% of your business is going to be commercial, you will be highly recommended to switch over to the eXp Commercial side, where you will get the support and the tools that you need. So on the commercial side, they have an entirely different tech stack. They have different, slightly more expensive brokerage fees, because the tools over there are a lot more expensive on the commercial side than they are on the real estate residential side. So if you do want to learn more about commercial, reach out to me, or I will also drop a future video on eXp Commercial Explained with some of my eXp Commercial friends. I'm going to touch a little bit on the eXp Revenos programs that are available. So one of the more common questions I get from newer agents is, does eXp provide any leads to their agents? And it's kind of like yes and no, really. Well, the no part is that you can't, as an agent, you can't really expect and rely on your brokerage to just hand you leads all the time, right? It's kind of one of the businesses where you have to go out to learn how to fish, right? You can't always expect fish to be given to you. However, with that being said, eXp does have a internal lead gen department, which is Revenos, right? And so these are all the different programs within Revenos that can generate leads for agents at eXp. And so we have a relocation program, an affinity program, a bundle select program, military, making it rain, institutional investment services, express offers, which is like a iBuyer cash program to offer to sellers, right? And then also REO, which is foreclosures, right? So all these different programs you have to get certified in, which is free. Certification programs are taught within eXp University, and so you can go learn and get certified. Once you get certified, it gives you access as an agent to potentially receive a lead in your area. So how does that work? Well, if you're part of the relocation program, right, you're certified in that. If there is a company, right, say Walmart, right, they have an employee that's moving in or out of your city, right? Well, because you're part of the program, right? When eXp gets that lead and it's in your city, you have the potential to receive that lead because you are a certified local agent in that area that specializes in relocation. And this is because relocation programs that handle corporate moves for their employees, they have certain ways that they like to do things. And so they need to make sure that you're certified. Same thing with REO. REO, used to be a major big deal, right? Back when there's a lot of foreclosures. REOs are handled by disposition companies. eXp has these contracts with disposition companies, right? So if you want to sell foreclosure properties, you want to be listing them, you need to get certified, right? So then you have access to these disposition companies so you can get those leads. So these are all very cool programs that are available to agents at eXp. So you might be thinking, oh, that sounds cool. There's so many different programs, but does it actually work? How much leads are you actually handing out to your agents? Well, let's take a look. When the program started in 2021, we gave out almost $250 million in leads to agents in sales volume, right? 2022, that, went more than double to 633. 2023, now that almost doubled to 1.1 billion. And then in 2024, last year, almost $1 billion in sales volume through eXp's internal lead generation programs. Pretty powerful stuff. So here's a quick slide at eXp's presence on an international level. We are in about 28 different international markets. It's hard to keep track of because we always keep adding more. Earlier in the year, we just added Turkey and Egypt. And last Friday, we just launched eXp Peru. And so, we've got a bunch of countries in South America, including Mexico, of course, right? Chile, and now they just added Peru. And of course, we have Puerto Rico, we have Mexico, all that stuff. So if you have clients that are looking to purchase internationally, we're in Portugal. Last year, that was the location of our eXpCon event in international. This year, eXpCon is going to be in Spain. One of our biggest and most successful international markets is actually South Africa, where we're growing quite a lot. And I've heard good things about France as well. So there's a lot of different things coming, and rumors are in the summer, there's going to be a major Asian country being added to the list here. If you're still paying attention all the way up to this point, then you're clearly very serious about your real estate agent business and how to grow it. And you might be considering if eXp Realty is that potential partner brokerage for you. Well, the right brokerage is only half of the formula for success, right? You also need to choose the right sponsor and the right people to partner with, to surround yourself with, right? To have that culture of collaboration and that accountability group. And that's what I've built at eXp Realty within my own organization. And we're looking for very serious agents about their business who are ready to grow and take it to that next level. So if you are curious and you are thinking possibly eXp Realty, hey, let's have a chat and see if we might be able to help you out and work together to take your business to that next level. So feel free to leave a comment below, send me a DM, shoot me a text or an email, and let's schedule a call just to have a real conversation. No pressure, just to figure out what you're looking for and how we might be able to help. So that's it for me, Laura Vang from the Elevate Agents Network here. I'll see you in the next video. If you like this one, please help share it so it gets the right people. Give it a like and a thumbs up. See you in the next video.